Hi Team Rage, I hope you are having an awesome day. Today we're going to talk about your relationship with money and how that's going to affect not only this business with Team Beachbody, but all aspects of your life, your job, how you spend money, how you save money, if you invest, all that kind of stuff. Because how you feel about money, how you really feel about money, that is the clincher. That is going to determine where you're at with it. And it's not to say you can't change that, but first of all, we have to recognize how we really, truly, deeply feel about money in order to take action steps to be able to change that if it's not lining up with where we need it to be successful. Because how you feel about money is going to be a huge determining factor in your success in all aspects of life that relate to your finances. And a lot of us have negative connotations because we grew up with that, whether it was from how we saw our parents or guardians handle it. Hi, Bryce. Absolutely. Debt can be a big stressor, right? Like how we talk with our spouses about it, with kids, with other people. It's just all these different aspects with money. Very weird feelings we have with it. We love money, we hate money. And a lot of the times, if somebody said, if, you could get $1 million, would you take it? And everybody's like, of course, I would love to have that money. And it's one of those things where we self-sabotage a lot of the time. If you grew up, we've all heard things like, money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. Life isn't a bowl of cherries. all of these things that subconsciously get absorbed. And especially when we're young, in those formidable years, when we're, 2 to 5, 2 to 6 kind of years old, we don't have a filter. We don't have our own opinion at that point, right? Because, you weren't born loving or hating money, right? You didn't know what it was. It's something that we pick up as we go along. And sometimes there's even like a very specific incident that can happen that can make you feel one way or the other. And that's the subconscious thing, and that's where we can self-sabotage without even knowing it. Because in our conscious mind, we can be working towards, a financial goal. We can want to be rich. We can want to do this and that. But if our subconscious mind isn't on board yet, if it says, yeah, but if I have money, I won't be loved. If that's your truth about money, then you will without knowing it, you're going to sabotage yourself. So, for example, that might mean, maybe you make a ton of money. Maybe you earn lots and lots of money, but you've got this backstory that says, if I have money, I will not be loved. You will find a way to spend that money or to get rid of it in some way. You may constantly make bad investment choices and lose it. You may do the stock market. You may, you might spend, you might give it away, but that's because you go, if I have money, I won't be loved. So you push that away from yourself, and then you find yourself always broke. And then you wonder why. How could I possibly be broke because I make X amount of money? Or you might find a way to not make very much money. Whether, again, that's with this business or with your day job or with anything else in life. So it's something that we have to kind of dig down deep and find, how do I truly feel about money? And once we kind of uproot some of that stuff, we can go, okay, that's how I perceived it at that time. That doesn't necessarily serve me now. And we can rewrite that story by constantly reaffirming things with ourselves and making new statements that are true, to go, instead of, if I have money, I won't be loved. If I have money, I can be loved too. And to know that, it's not an either or situation. You can have both, but you have to be able to believe that you can have both. And see, that's the trick. We have to figure out how we truly feel about it underneath all of our crap that we, started over the years. Maybe you constantly think to yourself, money's scarce. I never have money when I need it. And then we get mad at money. And money is just a thing. So it becomes ridiculous, right? We have this love-hate relationship with money because it's like, oh, it's never here when I need it. And I wish, money never existed. Or maybe you think rich people are all a-holes and they're like, causing all the world's problems. If you feel that way, you cannot attract money to you. So you have to start learning to change that story. So if you're one of those people who, thinks rich people are the worst, we got to change that story. So maybe start looking at some rich people, start reading their biographies, start seeing what they do, see what charities they give to, see all the good they can do in the world. And that's something for yourself too. If you're somebody who wants to help other people and you have this guilt trip about making money because, oh, my family's poor, well, you're not helping anybody by staying poor too, right? If you get yourself financially, I don't even want to say financially stable, if you get yourself rich, and when we talk about rich, we mean financially free. That just means you can do anything. That means, you could stop working, never work, it's that kind of thing where you have an income source that allows you to be free. That's being rich, and that's a different number for every person. And it kind of depends on where you want to go in your life. If you're somebody who, needs the mansion and the fancy cars and that kind of thing, you're going to need a whole lot more money than somebody who's not looking for that kind of freedom with that kind of lifestyle. I don't mean freedom, that kind of lifestyle, because free is different to each person because we all want different things out of life. So whatever allows you to do whatever your heart desires financially, money is basically a tool to get where we want to be. And you got to, start thinking of it that way. Money isn't good or bad. It's just something we use to get through life. And it basically allows us to glide through life if we've got enough of it to do what we want to do without stressing over it. And you can have however much money you need in life. And I think that's something that we talk ourselves out of, and that, oh, it's scarce. They keep printing the damn stuff every single day. There's more than enough to go around, and it really all comes down to your desire to bring it into your life, to give yourself that freedom. So figuring out where that comes from. Think about how you grew up. Think about things, you can even write a letter about how you feel about, kind of almost like a little love letter. Write a letter to money. Dear money, I wish I had more of you in my life. I feel so upset when you're not here and I have bills to pay. I am so stressed out and I hate you for not being here, but I want more of you and I miss you. See, if you're writing something like that, do you see that conflict of feelings? And that's your subconscious fighting with your conscious, because your conscious mind knows you need it and you want it, and more of it will be amazing. But your subconscious mind, if that's the story you're writing, is going, I hate you. And that conflict is going to keep you sitting in that stressed position with money, and sitting feeling there awkward and angry and guilty and all of these conflicted feelings. So we got to get clear about where we're really at in this moment about money. And I'll give you an example, and it's so funny how we do these things to ourselves. But I remember when I was 12, 13 years old, and I went shopping with my mom at the mall, and she got me a bunch of whole new clothes. And we got in the car, and my dad was so mad that she spent that money. And I've always been a very sensitive person. So for me, I was just like, take it all, get rid of it. I just want to be loved. I don't want to stress about money. And so that created a very negative connotation that there wasn't enough money, and that I could either have the stuff or I could have love and comfort and support. So it created a very big rift for me about money at that point. You can see I'm almost choking up thinking about it. And it's so silly, right? But these are the things that create this sub-story for us. And once I started thinking about it, I was like, okay, that was one incident. And this is something that I picked up. It does not serve me now. And it was just one evening. And as adults, we have these things where we can spar off about it. And it doesn't have to be a forever thing. Maybe he just had a really bad day, right? but I picked up on it that way in my subconscious. So think about some different incidents where money was an issue. Did your parents fight about it a lot, or your guardians? Think about how they reacted about money and how that translates into how you feel about money as an adult. And sometimes we'll do the polar opposite. Like maybe, if you grew up and your parents were absolute cheapskates, then you constantly overspend because you want to prove to the world that you're not cheap, right? And that's not necessarily serving you now. These are the little things that we got to pick up on when we're thinking about money, when we're thinking about how we feel and grow with it. Okay, so we're figuring out our relationship with money. Come back to the business about Team Beachbody and that you want to be excited about how much money you're making with this business, because the more money you're making, the more lives you're changing. Most of us aren't, nutritionists or personal trainers, and even if you are doing this business as that, most of our clients are not local, right? Most of our clients we don't see in person, probably ever. That means that in order to properly help them, they need to be using Beachbody's nutritionals and Beachbody's programs. That means they need to be ordering from us. We're there for the support system, 100%. Our role as a coach is extremely important, but I can cheer you on day after day after day after day, and if you don't have those tools to help you reach your goal, my cheering ain't doing too much. I need to be able to cheer you on to use that program, to use that Shakeology, to use that Beachbody Performance to get your goals, right? It's an equation. Every single piece of it matters, right? That is something you need to keep in mind. So your paycheck directly reflects how many lives you're changing. Beyond that, we make a lot of income overall in this business. The majority of your income is going to come from your downline. If they aren't producing, they aren't making money. You want to be able to help them make more money so that they're doing well, and that's going to reflect in your own paycheck. The more you help people with their finances and with their fitness, the more it's going to show on your paycheck, right? So it is important for you to fall in love with that money coming in. And before you can love that money coming in, you got to feel, how do you feel about money? Do you feel awkward about money? Is money gross? Does money freak you out? Does money make you feel guilty? Do you feel like some kind of swine when you make it? Like, you got to figure out how you're feeling about money, truly deeply feeling about money, and move forward from that. Go, okay, this is how I feel about it now. Don't necessarily have to feel that way about it forever. I want to start feeling about it X, Y, and Z. So then we got to start feeding ourselves that story, right? So you go, okay, that doesn't serve me. So I can have money and I can be loved, or I can have money and then I can help the people that matter to me, so that, it's not a guilt trip. And realizing that money is a tool for you to be able to, whatever you are now, money just makes you more of it. So if you're a kind, generous, amazing person, it's going to allow you to do more amazing, kind, generous things. It's not going to change who you are, right? If you're already somebody who is a jerk and does terrible things, well, money will allow you to do more of that, right? It's not going to change your personality. So also knowing that that's not a factor, that you can move past that. And it's really picking one stress or another, right? Being broke is sad and stressful and uncomfortable. And if you're worried about investing and learning how to manage money and all of this kind of stuff, because you're worried that's going to be stressful, whether you're choosing to be broke and stressed or rich and stressed, and I can guarantee you rich and stressed is not as stressful as it sounds. You're, warping it in your head, and we do that. As human beings, we do that because we justify where we're at. We justify why it's okay that we're broke, right? So it's about moving beyond that point. So today, your task is to sit down and write a love/hate letter to money. And really what that's about is write a letter to money and say how you truly feel. and just let it go. Don't censor yourself. Let it go, because that is going to be the foundation of where you're at. I want you to think about how money was perceived in your household growing up and what you picked up on from that, and sit down and see, where is your money going? What do you do with money? How does it make you feel when you get your paycheck? Are you thankful? Are you grateful? Are you happy? Are you pissed off it's not enough? Figure that out. That's a really important element. And from there, we can foster this new relationship with money. So figure out where you're at, and we're going to continue to talk about this money discussion in the coming weeks and really get to the root of how we can change that perception so that we can grow. It's a growth process, both emotionally, a little bit spiritually, and growing that bank account, right? Getting that bottom dollar up. So let's get our thoughts out on the table. Let's figure out how we really feel about it, and then let's move forward. Have an awesome day, guys. We're going to keep working on this.